On Christmas Day, 1642, in the village of Woolsthorpe, a tiny premature baby was born. So small they said he could fit in a quart pot. His name, Isaac Newton. His father had died 3 months before his birth, and his mother, Hannah, would abandon him just 3 years later. He was left in the care of his grandmother. His mother remarried, a wealthy clergyman, and moved away. Young Isaac never forgave her. In a list of sins he wrote at 19, he confessed, "Threatening my mother and stepfather with fire if they didn't let me live with them." Isaac Newton was born that very night, the man who would later discover gravity, abandoned, angry, alone, but brilliant. At 18, Newton entered Trinity College, Cambridge. He wasn't a star student, but he had a hunger for knowledge. While others studied Aristotle, Newton read the new thinkers, Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler. Newton began to study mathematics, optics, and natural sciences on his own. During this period, he conducted experiments and notes that laid the foundation for his future discoveries. For example, he planned his first experiments with light and color at this time. He was a very hard-working and very curious person. Then in 1665, disaster struck. The Great Plague. Cambridge shut down. Newton returned to Woolsthorpe and entered the most productive 18 months in scientific history. In isolation, he discovered the laws of motion, universal gravitation, calculus, the nature of light and color. Later, this period would be called Annus Mirabilis, the Year of Wonders. The story's famous. An apple fell, but Newton didn't just see a falling apple. He asked, why does it fall straight down? Why not sideways? Why toward the center of the earth? He realized there's a force, gravity, that pulls objects toward each other, and it works across space, even from the moon to Earth. But to prove it, he needed math, and the math didn't exist, so he invented it. Calculus, the mathematics of change, the language of physics, the tool that would build modern science. Yet he didn't publish it, not for decades. He feared criticism. He feared being wrong. Newton spent over 30 years in a dark basement, surrounded by mercury, lead, and fire, not doing physics, doing alchemy. He wasn't trying to make gold, not just gold. He was searching for the philosopher's stone, the legendary substance that could turn metal into gold and grant eternal life. He studied ancient texts, the Emerald Tablet, Egyptian mysticism, biblical codes. He believed the secrets of the universe were hidden in symbols, not equations. Over 1 million words, 27% of his total writings, were about alchemy, more than physics, more than math. He never found the stone, but he believed he was close. Newton was deeply religious, but not in the way you think. He rejected the Holy Trinity, called it a corruption of true Christianity. He spent years decoding the Bible, especially the book of Revelation. He believed the end of the world would come in 2060, not to predict doom, but to warn humanity. He believed the Antichrist was already rising, that true faith would be restored. He wrote over 1.4 million words on theology, more than on science. For Newton, science was worship. Studying nature was reading God's design. Newton was not kind to rivals. His greatest enemy? Robert Hooke, the man who discovered cells. When Hooke died, Newton, now president of the Royal Society, had his portrait removed. It was never found again. And then, the Calculus War, with German genius Gottfried Leibniz. Both claimed to invent calculus. Newton used his power to erase Leibniz. He even formed a committee that proved he was first. a committee he secretly wrote himself. History remembers Newton, but Leibniz's notation, the one we use today, 1. In 1720, Newton invested in the South Sea Company. When prices soared, he sold and made 20,000 pounds, a fortune. But then he panicked. FOMO. He bought back in at the peak. The bubble burst. He lost 20,000 pounds, over $4 million today. He said, "I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people." He died in 1727, aged 84, buried in Westminster Abbey, the greatest scientist of his age. But as economist John Maynard Keynes said, Newton was not the first of the age of reason, he was the last of the magicians. Isaac Newton gave us the laws of the universe, but he spent his life chasing secrets no one else saw. Alchemy, prophecy, the mind of God. He was not just a scientist, he was a mystic, a genius, a broken man, a magician in a world becoming rational. So was he the father of science, or the last great sorcerer? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to activate the bell button.